Hello there, it's a little under 20 minutes to the top of the hour. Thank you for staying here on the AM show. I'm Bernice Abubedulant, and if you just joined us, we are virtually dedicating today to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who is being celebrated the world over. The conversations about his legacy, the conversations about his party, the Convention's People's Party, and what they stand for and whether they've been able to live up to the expectation of the founder. We'll have those conversations shortly, but it's time now for our news review, and joining me for that is NDC parliamentary candidate-elect for South Tong, Maxwell Agbodza. Good morning to you, Maxwell. How are you doing, and how are you commemorating today?
Yeah, good morning, Bernice. Good morning to your viewers and your listeners. I'm pretty good. The weather is not too good for most of us. It's affecting my voice, but I think we can manage. Talking about the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial or Commemoration Day, I think I would want to sit down quietly and then go through myself, look at the ideals that Dr. Osadifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah stood for, his resilience, his fortitude, his vision for Ghana, and how tall he stood in the whole of Africa, that the history of Africa cannot be told or written without the name of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. It's a mark that he struck for us as Ghanaians, and it's something we should continually celebrate and we want to be identified with. I, as an individual, as I said earlier, would want to go through myself and then look at what he stood for and what I can also do for our country, Ghana, and for Africa as a whole. And so I think it's a day that has to be celebrated properly for the little ones who are coming up to know about the things Dr. Kwame Nkrumah did for us as Ghana. And most of the little ones is fading away. They are not too sure. I'm not sure we continually write books to commemorate him. And I think days like this are days that the story has to be completely told for those young ones that are coming up to also learn a thing or two. Know who Kwame Nkrumah really was and is for Ghana. Like he said, Kwame Nkrumah never died, and so we shouldn't let him die.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point you make about the younger generation learning about who he was and what he stood for. I had an interaction with two of his children, Samia and Seku, and it's something they agree on, but it was interesting that for the two of them, there were some points of disagreement on his legacy entirely, but I mean, we'll reserve that for later on in the show. But let's get on to myjoyonline.com and what's happening in the news. This one says EC can go to court if it feels frustrated by Parliament regarding constitutional instruments, and that's according to Andy Apia Kubi. And also this one from Roxanne Nelson Dafiamepo, EC doesn't need a new law to decentralize limited voter registration. And we also have the EC chairperson there. I'm just trying to put the stories that are related together. Don't blame Parliament for your voter suppression efforts. That comes along with the EC chairperson's photo. That's from Abuja. Now, let me just find out from you. I believe that you've been following the limited voters registration exercise and all the news that has come up. The EC's press conference that aimed at addressing the concerns raised particularly by the minority in Parliament and the National Democratic Congress, which you are a member of. How do you generally feel about all that's happening, the fallout so far?
Yeah, I'm just not reading news, but I'm practically on the ground. And I am at the thick and thin of events, especially in my constituency, to make sure that all those who have to register, we help somehow to get them to register, because apparently the situation is that most of these constituencies or districts, some communities are very hard to reach. And traveling from one end to the district capital to go through the process is daunting and challenging. And so we as leaders, if we don't help, it's going to be a white elephant. The EC maybe was just interested in getting some few people into the electoral roll. And the reality on the ground is that there are a lot more of the people who want to get on the electoral roll, especially because for the past 2 years, people have not had the opportunity to get enrolled. And so there are large numbers coming to these centers to want to register. I go to the center on a daily basis to ensure that those who have to be supported from the far to reach communities have brought to these centers to get them enrolled. The numbers we have every day is so challenging. I am proud to say that in the Volta region, my constituency has always been a first, second, or third in the number of people we are able to register on daily basis, because we have put a lot of mechanisms in place to help these ones to go through the registration process effortlessly. And so the challenge is on the ground, and I'm sure that the numbers EC is seeing, the videos they are seeing from the centers, and the pictures they are seeing will note to them that there are a lot more of the people on the ground who have to go through this process. And so for me, the last time I heard her saying that they would want to do some other things to help the process by getting to the hard-to-reach areas to ensure that all those who have to register go through the process. I'm not too sure what they have up their sleeves. I'm not too sure whether they are intending to increase the number of days. But sincerely, at my point, my expectation is to get about 12,000 people onto the roll. So far, I have less than 2,000, and 2 weeks is almost gone, and I'm not too sure how I'm going to get the 10,000 onto the roll. We are making an average of now about 180 thereabout. The last time we done over 300. Yesterday we were around 279. And so, based on the few 3 days, we could say that we have an average of about 250 thereabout. But my target is to get about 400 people a day or more. So the numbers we are getting, even if it's an average of 250 or 300, that's the number of days gives me just about 6,000 thereabout. And that is just about half of the numbers I am expecting. So the reality is that there is a lot of challenge on the ground. And the earlier we find flexible and practical solutions to these issues, the better it will be for all of us. Yes, I heard Dr. Nana SKB Asante yesterday talking about us not putting our hands into the eyes of the EC and to allow the fairness to run through the system. But the issue is that practically on the ground, the things that they are planning to do are not helping the numbers. Every day there are people who come to the centers and go back without being registered. So we still appeal that the people have to register, and it is their civic responsibility and right. Let's not impede any of the processes and allow them freely to come to the room and also exercise their franchise during this district assembly elections and also the next year's general election. So for me, they should look at the system and make sure that we work it out.
Right. And Mr. Lukuto, and I've heard politicians, both from the MPP and NDC, talk about how they are facilitating the process for some young people in their communities. And I'm just curious, you said you are hoping to help how many people? 12,000?
Yes.
And these 12,000, who are they? Is it? How are you doing this? Are you looking for people who have your personal interest? Just tell us how you go about finding these young people. Are you just massing them up, or you have a certain criteria you're looking at?
No, of course, the EC's criteria is what we are using. The people shouldn't have ever registered before. They should be 18 years above and of sound mind. I'm sure those are the basic requirements to be registered as a voter. And so, we have our police centers or branches all over the country. For instance, in my constituency, I have 166 police centers or branches. We have the executives over all these places. These executives hail from all communities. And so, if I have an executive in one particular committee, he knows the children who have attained the age of 80 of sound mind and who are never registered as voters. And so they compile this list of people and to encourage them to go to the district electoral commission to go and have their names registered. If some of them do not have transport to come to the centers, we need to help by mobilizing them to come to the centers to get their names registered. Because for us as a party, we are an interested party. And so whatever we have to do to get these people coming, we will do. But sincerely, it's not about us going to identify who an NDC person is to aid the person to come to the center. You cannot be too sure who the person is. But once the person has attained the age of 18 and is of sound mind and can register, you only help by bringing them together. Don't forget, if I become an MP of my constituency, I will not only be open to those who are NDC people, but everybody who is a constituent. So as it is now, I am helping everybody, anybody who wants to come and register on the road, and that's what we are doing. So it is nothing undoubt. Wherever you find yourself, as a party leader, it is your responsibility to aid your people to come and register.
To aid your people. That's
not my people.
Okay, all right.
It's not my people. It's about anybody in this community who has attained the age of 18 who wants to register. I cannot be too sure who is my party member because up to this stage, they have not been involved in any partisan activity. Those in the GSS and the secondary schools are not allowed by the law to do any party politics. So you cannot be too sure who belongs to one political party or the other. It is when they become voters and after 18 years that they decide which political party they wish to join. So we are only aiding the process, not taking critical notice of who belongs to my party or not. So it's a gentle process we are going through.
All right, now let's look at this one, which is turning out to be something else. Occupy Julobi House demonstration. Organizers duly served court process through lawyers. Organizers duly served court process through lawyers. That's according to the police. This is because when you scroll down just after the president's speech to the UN Security Council, you see the Occupy Julobi House. We have not been served. Our protest will proceed as planned. That's according to Democracy Hub. And a few hours after that, the police service responded to say they had been served through their lawyers because Democracy Hub, in its own letter to the police, indicated that they could correspond via their lawyers, and that's what the police has done. But I've been listening to reactions from convener of Democracy Hub, Oliver Bakavomawo, who's been saying that they will not be stopped, they will not do anything untoward, they're going to have their hands raised to suggest that they're not there to cause any mayhem. But the police insist that any gathering today will be an unlawful one. How do you see how this has panned out from the time the Democracy Hub expressed its intention to embark on this 3-day demonstration?
Madam, it's becoming one too many for the Ghana Police Service to be acting as a conduit or as a sieve for this government in any civilized demonstration, any grouping wants to undertake. It's becoming like they have made up their mind that they're not going to allow anybody to undertake any protest, demonstration, or whatever. So as soon as you notify them that you want to go on demonstration, they find every and any reason to stop you to wanting to go for this demonstration or the picketing. Bakavomawo, as we have known him, Fix the Country fame, has gone through a series of these demonstrations and picketing and the other allies of this demonstration. And they have never been violent. We have known and we have seen their actions. I don't think they are a violent group of people that government or police have to be so scared about that they will not allow them to go picket for 3 days. I don't see what is so critical about this news that the government of the day is so scared about, and they have put in every machinery to ensure that people are prevented from exercising their democratic rights. For me, it's nauseating. And it's not in the best of shape and taste. Look at our parliamentarians, those who hold the law, those who promulgate our laws, also want to go and occupy BOG. And look at the back and forth we are having with these people. Every day they say you cannot pass here, you can only go through this place, you can't get to this extent, it's a security zone, it's a national security, this is that, it is this, is that. And it's strange. The kind of democracy we want to practice. The last I heard the IGP saying that it is the world best practices that the Ghana Police Service is undertaking and wish to get to. So if it is the best practice we wish to get to, are we not seeing the West? Are we not seeing demonstrations being held every day? Are we not seeing picketing being done every day at very strategic places? What is so serious about the Bank of Ghana? What is so serious about the Jubilee House? And the people are not going to the forecourt. They are going to loiter around just to pick it, maybe sit under a tree, have their placards, display whatever they have, and sit down there as long as they wish to be. I don't see what is so serious about this. These are not people who are coming to dance.
But does it make any difference that in the past year and a half or maybe 2 years, we have been put on high alert, even way before we started seeing these coups happening in the sub-region, that terrorism was closer to us now than we ever imagined. And there are concerns that these are very key installations in the country, the Bank of Ghana and the Jubilee House. Does it make any difference, the situation we find ourselves in now, and the fear that not necessarily organizers of these demonstrations, but criminal elements could take advantage of these demonstrations and where they are being held to, promote crime or their own agenda?
We want to behave and act as if we don't have an intelligence unit in the police service or in the security services. These things don't happen overnight. People would have to plan, think about when they have to do that before they execute. So if we have good intel picked every day, these things should not be too much of a worry to us. And does it mean that because there is terrorism, there is coup all over the sub-region, our democratic rights, our civic rights that we have as Ghanaians should not be excised? No. The issues that breed these things are the things that I think we should critically be looking at. So I actually was listening to our president in the UN summit talking to the West about how they could let good governance and then equality before the law and all those best practices happen in Africa. And I asked, what are we doing to ourselves to ensure that the people we rule over are satisfied with the way we are ruling over them? The EC, we are going through a registration process to go to vote. We are not too sure who is coming to register and who is coming to vote. And the stature we see of the EC is as if they want to prevent a lot more of the people from registering. If citizens see that you are stifling them from their basic rights, they may want to take it to the street. So for me, if we are really serious and we want to stop some of this, the last time I heard that some Wagner guys in Western region decided to have a meeting and they were arrested. This one, how long can we continue arresting people? Is it that we don't pick intel or we don't work with intel? That's why we are firefighting all these things. I don't think this is the best way to fight these things. It is about picking good intel that will help us solve some of these challenges. People are coming to picket. How many people will come there? 50 of them, 100 of them. And we are saying that the police force we have in Ghana cannot handle these people. If people are coming to break their front and to do other things, it should be picked by intel. They should know what is happening every day in this country. And so for me, we should let intel work more than this firefighting system that we want to put in place. And it's becoming nauseating for the police to be seen as people blocking the civil rights of people. And if that continues, they may be looking for other ways to attack anybody and everybody. I'm not saying that those things are right, but I'm only saying that let's be civilized and circumspect with the way we do our things as a people, so that people don't take the law into their own hands if they feel that they have been unnecessarily denied their right to do whatever they think they are entitled to. They may want to go to other angles. So for us, let us rather go back to the drawing board and allow people to do whatever they have to do. We provide whatever security we have to provide, monitor them, and make sure that we pick intel to avert some of the worst things we are so scared of. For me, that should be it, not necessarily stopping people from demonstrating. So even parliamentarians are a threat to our nation. No. So for me, let us look at the reality on the ground and play by the rules of engagement.
Right, so let's see what's happening on other news portals. Let's check out Graphic Online and bring you what's happening there. And then we will just quickly touch on some world news on BBC. So, okay, this one, it's been trending on social media. Shatawale Stonebwoy Clash over booking of Accra Sports Stadium. And Russian Embassy disavows alleged connection to Wagner mercenaries. And you just made reference to that. Consortium commits $10 million to lithium drilling. NPP presidential primary Dr. Akuto commits to backing winner. And GFA presidential race, a free turns to cast for justice. Okay, and there's a big one on Nana Dr. SKB Asante telling the EC, or telling politicians rather, not to impede work of the EC and judiciary. So we've touched a bit on that. But let me just find out from you, Mr. Lukuto, do you follow entertainment news?
Yeah, sometimes I do, and my favorite is Stonebwoy.
Okay. All right. But have you heard what's happening with regards to the...
Yes. Chatter has always been unnecessarily noisy and always want to make the news in a bad way. I'm not too sure what he's fighting over. This is a space, and there are people who have oversight responsibility as to how it is managed. And this is a normal processes, and you've been giving your date. Somebody has also been giving his date. Why the fuss about making so much noise about why he's been given the opportunity to also go and organize his concert? I really don't know what
but I think the issue here is that Shatawale actually released a flyer, right, of a program he's intending to have on a particular day in December, and he said the Accra Sports Stadium was the venue. Apparently, he hadn't paid for it. So this is what SM fans are saying. In the spirit of brotherliness, you knew, or they are expecting that Stonebwoy would have known because of Shatawale's flyer that he had intended to use the place on that day and not go ahead to book it on the same day, right? So that's what the issue is. But there are those who also say if you haven't paid for the venue, why advertise it?
Yeah, so he hasn't gone through the mill, so why is he advertising?
But in the spirit of brotherliness, I mean, or that is, we are assuming then that probably Stonebwoy didn't know.
Yeah, Stonebwoy, was any official notification to Stonebwoy? I'm not sure Stonebwoy has officially been informed.
Right.
And I'm not too sure we are using the same day. Stonebwoy is not using the same day. Shatters is on 28th, I guess, and Stonebwoy I think is on the 23rd or so. So what's the
is that it? Is that it? Okay, I don't remember reading that though. But I mean, it's trending on social media, so we just decided to touch and go on it. All right, so we just have a few more minutes. Let's see what's happening on international news portal, the BBC, and we'll just wrap it all up. All right, so Poland to stop supplying weapons to Ukraine. Interesting. Okay, that one on sports. I'm interested in sports. Let's calm down. Champions League reaction. Manchester United lose at Bayern. Arsenal thrash PSV. Manchester United lost to Bayern because of me. That's according to Onana. I have been following the English Premier League since it resumed, and I'm not sure what you make of Onana's performance. That's if you watch football at all. The new keeper of the Manchester United club. There are those who are coming for him, and he admits here in this particular case that Manchester United lost the game because of him. Do you see that his time with the club will be short-lived? There are those who've predicted that, though.
Benis, you see that I'm quiet. You are just adding salt to injury. I'm a Man U fan. And
sorry.
It's so unfortunate that we are seeing ourselves in the situation we find ourselves in. Onana is not helping us so much as we thought he was going to do, and it's unfortunate. And so yesterday I decided not to watch the match. And for me, it is not the best of situation we find ourselves in. I think that he should back up, else you see the back of his ass. We are a big club. Our fan base is so large, and he shouldn't continue to make us not have a good supper. And so for me, the earlier he reviews his tactics and his game, the better it will be for all of us. And so, Benis, please leave it here. I don't want to talk about what happened to us yesterday.
I'm so sorry about that. But I mean, I thought Ten Hag had the magic, right? I thought that he was going to be the difference to the Manchester United team. How do you feel about your coach, though?
At the end of the day, once you lose a game, it is a coach that you can blame.
But Arsenal is still on.
Even though much of the players should know better, and so we just pray. Hello?
Hello, I can hear you. Sorry, the line is breaking a bit.
Yeah, so like we say, at the end of the day, it's the coach who decides who does what. And so I feel like we should go back to the drawing board and ensure that what we expect from him, we get. We were not expecting that loss yesterday, and it happened. And so between him and Onana, I'm sure they should sit again and look at what they can do to help us revive our spirits and remain loyal supporters.
All right, let's see how it goes for Manchester United. Meanwhile, Arsenal is still in top form because they beat PSV. And, well, let's see how it also pans out in the English Premier League. But thank you so much for your time, Mr. Lukuto. He is the NDC's parliamentary candidate-elect for South Tongue. And we've been talking about the major news on the various portals, Graphic Online, My Joy Online, and we just touched on that one from the BBC. There's more coming up in sports. Mubarak Haruna is standing by with the latest. Do stay with us.